In this video, we're going to get some practice entering data into SPSS. This is comes in the middle of the notes from the Lab 1 notes. So here's all the stuff about variable types and things like that. And we get up to here to data entry practice. So I'm going to show you how to open the program, how to set this up, and then we'll do a separate video for the classroom assignment. So data entry practice. So we have 3 different variables here: the student's name, student's age, and their favorite sport. So Brandon is 8 years old. His favorite sport is football. So we're going to create an original SPSS data file that's going to include all of this information here. So I have a shortcut to SPSS on my toolbar, so I'll click on that and wait for SPSS to load up. And it should be here any minute. There it goes. SPSS version 20. That's probably what you have. And here it comes. There it is. Okay, so it gives you some options in the windows that pops up here. Open an existing data source. You can choose to type in data. So you can click on that. If you hit cancel, you basically just end up typing in data. So I'm not really sure what the difference is, but click OK. And remember, we have 2 different views. We have the data view and the variable view. And there's 2 main windows, but we're going to be working within this window for the time being. And really, it'll be a little later on in the classwork we end up working with the other window, the output window. So we're going to create, I'll go ahead and just split the screen here. So we need to create 3 new variables: name, age, and sport. So here we are in the variable view. Here's the data view. It's empty, there's no data in it. And the variable view is here. So in the variable view, the rows are variables, and the data view, the columns are variables. Okay, and the rows are your people, the kids in this case. So variable view. So we're going to make the first variable, and we're going to name the variable name. Okay, so when I type name and hit enter, this all lights up, and we still have to set a lot of these values. We're going to add a label, and we're going to label it student's name. It's a little more descriptive. In this case, the data set is quite small. I don't think we'd really get mixed up, but if you had a large data set, maybe you had student's name and parent's name. Well, now you would, or sibling's name or something like that. Well, now you would need a more descriptive label. So we've labeled the variable student's name, and then we have to decide what type of variable it is, level of measurement, if there's any coding going on. Well, level of measurement, this is going to be a nominal level variable. It's just a category. There's no order. Brandon is not higher than Josie. They're just different names. So it's a nominal level measure. And then, I'll move this out a little bit so you can see that better. Move this in just a little. Perfect. And then the type of variable, the default is numeric, but we can't use a numeric variable for these names. You could code them, but there really be no reason to. So this is going to be string level variables. So we'll hit string, and we'll hit OK. And now, because we set string, it's expecting words when we enter the values. So our first variable is called name. The label is student's name. It's a string variable. The level of a measurement is nominal. Okay. Now our next variable is student's age. So we'll name it age. And by the way, you can't put special characters and spaces over here. So if you wanted to call it student's age, it's going to say, oop, contains an illegal character, right? And then it didn't work. So just make it age, and then over in label, over here, we'll write student's age, like that. This one is going to be scale. And the reason it's scale is because there is an order, right? 10 is more than 9, 9 is more than 8, which is more than 6. There is an order, and the intervals between the ages are even. So the difference between 6 and 7 is the same as between 7 and 8. A year is a year is a year. So that's going to be a scale level variable, and then it's going to be numeric, because we're just going to put the actual number in. And then favorite sport, this is going to be an, we'll have to actually create it, right? So sport, and then we'll label it favorite sport. Again, we won't, there's only 3 here to keep track of, but it could have been maybe the sport they play most frequently, or what sport they watch on TV. It could mean different things. So it's their favorite sport. and it's going to also be a nominal level variable because they're just different groups. You can't find the mean sport or something like that. Um, and you are probably wondering, well, is it going to be string or numeric? Well, if you were going to type in football, soccer, basketball, just like that, you could make it string, but then it's going to limit what you can do in terms of analysis. Because certain analyses, if you go, and you'll see this later, you go to select, okay, I want to use this variable. If it's string, sometimes it won't even show up on the list. Will act like it's not even there. So it's always better to have a numeric variable if it's possible, which means we just code it. So all I have to do is create values. So we go to the values column and click right there. So I just clicked right on that with the little circles, or the little dots. And we just basically give it numeric codes. So what we could do is we could say that 1 equals football. So we put 1 football and then add. So now it knows that 1 is football. We could say that 2 is soccer. So I'm trying to cover every different kind of sport. So we had football, soccer, there's basketball. So 3 is basketball. Hit add. So football, soccer, basketball, football, soccer, football. Is that all of them? I don't see baseball or anything like that. So there's only 3 different sports. We've coded it. We were telling SPSS, whenever I say 1, I mean football. When I say 2, I mean soccer. 3, I mean basketball. They're nominal level of measurement. So SPSS knows these are just categories. I only coded it because I want to use a numeric type of variable. Okay, we have this all set up. Over here, decimals, the default is 2, not with string there's no decimals because it's words, but with numbers the default's 2. I really don't need any, so I can just set these to 0 because there's no 10.5 years old, or the sports, it's not like 1.1 equals soccer. I really don't need decimals, so I can change that. This is just the width of the column. This has to do with missing values. We're not really dealing with that. Alignment, so we'll leave these things alone. So back to the data view. So we've set all this, and the data view is now we can enter the information here. So there's 3 columns: name, age, and sport. These are the variables, and the rows are the people. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids. So we're going to be using all 10 of these rows: first kid, second kid, third kid, like that. So to enter the data, it's pretty easy. So under name, I'll just type Brandon because the first kid's name is Brandon. And then I'll go over to age and type 8. Okay, and then I go to sport, and whoa, what do I type? Because I want to put football, but I've coded this variable. Right, so I go over, I'm in my variable view again, and under values, I know that 1 is football, 2 is soccer, 3 is basketball. So instead of putting football, I'll put the number 1. So I go over here and I click a 1. And now SPSS knows that that's football. And if you want to be sure, right over here, this is a cool button. It's sort of a toggle. It toggles the value labels. So either you get the number or what it stands for. So if I click on it, it goes from football to 1. So I have a couple of options. All right. So I'll click it over to the sports, the label, and you'll kind of see. So you can enter it different ways based on if that button's clicked. All right. So the next person is Laura, and she is 6, and her favorite sport is soccer. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can actually click on that little caret right there and just pick soccer. Or you can, I'll delete it again, show you. Or you can just start to write the word soccer, and then it pops up. Or you can go back to the numeric view, right, and just hit 2. But if you're in the numeric view and you start to write soccer, it gets confused because again it's looking for the number. Okay. And then Javier is 10 and he likes basketball. Well, that's a 3. So I can put the number 3, I can pull the pull down menu, I can start to write basketball. There's a few options there. But that's basically how we do it. And we just go all the way down the list and enter all 10 of the values, and then we have our data set.